Hold up, Diddy. Hit him with part two, son.
This is gonna take it back to the first date. This first date now, we've been exchanging communications, text, phone calls. We just met last week, but we going out this weekend. We go to dinner, have a great time, drinks, dancing. It's great.
You met online or you met in person?
No, a mutual friend who's at a game night.
Are you telling us a story or?
Who knows?
We're just creating context.
Yeah, it was game night, and so I walk you to your door. And I can tell by the way we danced and kind of flirted and all that stuff. Like, you feeling me, I'm feeling you. And then you say, hey, you want to come in, for some coffee, a little nightcap? Okay, great. So in my mind, it's one of two things. Like they said, I wasn't thinking, oh, maybe she just don't want the night to end. But in my mind, it's like, oh, she wants some. Either way, she do want some. She didn't want the night to end either. So we go in and we sit on the couch. She put on a pot of coffee, put on some music. We sit on the couch and she comes sit by me and we talking. It was really great. Now she all close. Now your leg touching my leg and then you laughing at my jokes and now you doing all this stuff. Okay, so you still letting me know without verbally saying, hey, come make love to me. Like, I want it. And it's just gonna gradually happen. We're gonna start out on the couch.
So do you have the but see, that I think that the conversation that we're talking about has to happen prior to you even getting in the house upstairs for the night.
But if they just went to, so when do you have at dinner?
At dinner.
I don't really know. I think that the problem that we have is that we move so fast.
So you can't say, over in conversation at dinner, like, this is our first date, so we're just having conversation. So like, what are you looking for in a man? Are you looking for a relationship right now? You just casually dating? Like, that's not true.
No, men don't. They say, well,
all right.
I'm not really, actively looking for a relationship. I'm not completely opposed to it. They ride that middle because what I want.
Have you heard that speech?
Yeah, for sure. I think every woman has. You ride the middle because you want the sex. And it could blossom into something. But also, I got some other things going on too. So it's just I'm just seeing where this goes. Yeah. And I think that oftentimes women go with that flow.
Because, it is fair that a man can be like, I want to marry you, which is technically what we just want to hear, But and so when they say that, it's a valid form. It's like, yeah. And then y'all both like each other. And let's just say I'm in that part of my cycle in life where now I'm horny and you're cute and we had a great time. Now we don't have to talk about how women's judgments get clouded when they horny too. And so then you do that and then you talk about it after the fact. And now that conversation feels different because if I don't have sex with you and now you like, we just met.
You can say damn.
Good.
Lindsey say worse.
We just met last week. Let's just see where this goes. Now we seeing where it goes for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you done went out with other people. And I'm saying, because I really thought we could be something.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me, and I often wonder because in the church, we don't really talk about sex. And I think that's one of the things we realize. All of us came from the same church in Chicago, and RJ is still there, and so we didn't really dig into it a lot. I mean, there were some surface conversations, and I guess the question is, and I asked you guys earlier, where does God fit in how you process this? And I'm just curious to kind of hear where you settle it.
For me, I think God fits in from a self-respect type of thing. So I feel like if I'm
respecting myself.
Yes, to a degree. Yes, I'm respectful. I'm just not out here reckless with it. You're not out here giving out STDs. You're not out here sleeping with a different person. A different night of the week. you focus, you have an end goal. You're focusing on this one individual right now, maybe two individuals, but you're still the same two. But I'm just saying. But
this sounds like perfect, human rationalization.
Because it is.
What it is,
because what I'm so as the pastor, what does the Bible say about sex? Is it specifically for marriage? Because then, if you talk about generational stuff, back in the day, women was getting married off. It wasn't for love. They were getting married off to build families and connections and things like that.
Well, so I think, and some people will disagree with me, that marriage and sex aren't the same thing as love, even when you look in the Bible. If you go through the Old Testament, there are marriages, and like you said, they're arranged, and the love comes. Even in the New Testament, when Paul tells us, husbands, love your wives, that's a command. And that love is an action. It's a decision. Decisions aren't connected to feelings. And so I think that's one of the problems we have, is that we have romanticized marriage to such a degree when actually marriage has always been a merger of two corporations of sorts to further a business. In a sense, I'm really lumping it together. Even when you think about it from a biblical standpoint, and I know, a whole bunch of people gonna be like, what? When God says to Adam, dude, you're by yourself. It's not good that you're by yourself. And then he says, I'm gonna give you help to accomplish things. That's not a romantic, oh, Adam, you're gonna be singing song. No, he makes her and then puts them together for them to accomplish and further goals. And so sex in that, I believe, fits in the sense that it is the franchising. It allows you two companies to come together and plant franchises. Kids, for those of y'all that aren't following what I'm saying. And so it's dangerous but not bad to add the romantic aspect to it. We have added that. Society has added that as it has evolved, because it's a business. They make money off of rom-coms. Rashida knows stuff. They make money off of these things. I think we have to get to a place where we not take fully, and you can argue with me if you want, not remove emotion fully from it, but sit in the place of how is God viewing this interaction in the scope of my life and his plan for my life. Mm-hmm. There are some people that you sleep with and life goes on, and you just, but there are some people that you mess with and your whole life goes all the way around these curves and falls into a place of destruction. So when you talk about where does God sit in this, what does God look, I believe that God is looking at it in these moments saying, daughter, son, what is this choice you about to make going to do for my call on your life? Have you thought this out? Have you talked to me about this? Have you had this discussion? We so bad, we don't even talk to each other. We definitely ain't talking to him. So we're not even having these conversations, afterward. Everybody.
Like, Lord, what I just do?
Well,
you know what you just
Who got Plan Bs? Is Plan Bs we all in conversation afterwards. But 9 times out of 10, he was talking to us before. He was talking to us before. And so even like what you said in terms of how we respect ourselves, the question still becomes, who defines respect? Is it us or is it him? Because is it respecting ourselves or is it respecting him that made us? Because if you're a Christian, the Bible says we don't own ourselves.
Well, it can't be respect to him, clearly, because if we're supposed to be waiting until we're married and I ain't married, but I'm going to get it in, so that ain't respect to me or him, right?
It sounds like you didn't say, he said, wait till you're married.
I think you
just it. Really so you basically you just told. Here's what I heard you say. You told me,
bro. You ain't about to.
You told me.
The preacher ain't told you
told
nothing.
me I could do me as long as it doesn't knock me off my path of what God has for me.
I told
so if
you,
I say I'm going to seminary,
no.
I can go do whatever I'm doing as long as I'm passing in seminary, passing my classes.
To Jesus before you stick your penis in anybody.
I think that that's such a good way to think about marriage, and I think we do 100% romanticize it, and we don't look at it as like a business decision and when you're pairing your life with someone. And I think that's such a great way to think about it. And if you think about your purpose, if you're thinking about your purpose in every decision that you make, considering that purpose. And I don't think most people don't even think about their purpose. Like,
And
every
most people don't
decision-
even know their
yeah,
purpose.
they're just making decisions and not thinking about if this is going to derail them or take them completely off the track. But I think the difficulty is most of us are never going to consult God before sex because we're automatically going to presume he's going to say no. and I'm not really looking for a no here. I'm looking for a will Grace be here in the morning.
But there are some things grace can't undo.
Ooh, that's scary.
And you said something because
That is terrifying.
when you have this ignorance of purpose, essentially we're not asking God before those moments because we want to be whatever that person wants us to be. Because in this moment, this person is accepting me. Even if it's a shallow acceptance, even if it's, and I think a lot of women, I could be wrong, y'all can argue with me and tell me, a lot of times it's not so much, yes, you all may be horny, but it's also, dag, if he leave, I'm by myself. And I've heard many women say they'd rather have half of a man, piece of a man, than no man at all. And when you get to these places where we don't talk about these things, I know some of y'all are like, why are we don't talk about these things. And everybody, I know, I be seeing people facing in church. I can see when these jokes, I be preaching my guts out, and I can see when somebody done walked in and somebody whole head turned, and now this brother twitching his whole body the whole service. He can't get up, he can't, because he excited. He want the woman. Or sisters, being attracted. I remember I preached somewhere some years ago, and one of my pastors, Pastor Shears, he pushed me into wearing robes. And I didn't like robes. We're mixed. Our pastor don't like robes. He call them dresses. So we never wear no robes. Pastor Shears like, man, you need to, let me get you a robe. So I'm like, man, I don't need no robe. I'm wearing a robe. So one Sunday I'm preaching my guts out. I'm just preaching. Jesus, come on, Jesus. I finished preaching. This lady comes up to me and she says, Pastor, I love your belt buckle. And I said, oh, thank you so much. Right. So I go tell Pastor Shears. I said, yeah. He said, Sister so-and-so came up to you. What'd she say to you? I said, she said how much she loved my belt buckle. And he said,
you need to wear a robe.
No. He said, son, you ain't got no belt on.
Ooh, that's a good story.
It's a true story. He said, you ain't got no belt on. And that's when I was like, and he said, everybody that come to church ain't looking for Jesus. And because we don't touch on it, you got all these horny people in the pew who are not considering from a business aspect. I am a corporation created by God.
That's good. That's the point.
That's so
And when you don't know your purpose becomes whatever fulfills the needs of somebody else in that moment.
Or fulfills the needs for you in the moment.
Or you in that moment.
So are we saying that, looking at it from a corporation standpoint, find somebody you're compatible with to a degree and you marry them, and the love don't have to be there?
I think love, I could be wrong, but I think love evolves one. In a romantic sense, it evolves. In the other sense, it is very much a decision. Everywhere in Scripture, and we got some preachers coming on this season, so Lindsey remind me to bring it up again, RJ remind me to bring it up, we can ask other preachers. Everywhere in Scripture where the Bible talks about love, it is not connected to this feeling. It is an action. It is a decision. For God so loved the world that he gave. He is acting. It is a choice he is making. Now,
I feel like even in the places in the Bible where there is affection, there is a lot of work necessary prior to or even during the marriage. Like with Rachel and the years that he had to work to get her. Is that the right story?
yeah, but think about it.
So even though those were feelings or like that was an attraction that he had for this person immediately.
He didn't have no attraction.
What did
he saw the wrong one. The girl was ugly. He worked another 7 years. Which one you
the
talking about?
one that he
Rachel.
there was an initial attraction and he wanted her, but he had to work
That ain't love.
to get her.
That's she fine. She got a booty.
Right. I'm making your point. It's like there are times
work.
in the Bible where there is that emotion or that attraction, and then it still comes with a lot of work. And I think that's the part that we miss or that we lack, because even if you do say you have to have the love, you look at yourself as a corporation, but you want the love, that isn't always there. It doesn't feel the same way for the next 30, 40 years you're married to that person. Like, you're gonna have an ebb and
You
flow.
gonna not like
So I
them
have a
some
question.
days.
I have a question there because I am the quintessential love queen. Okay, what is the purpose? What is the reasoning for romance? When is it necessary then? When romance, affection, when is it necessary? Because you even said it's not necessarily even what God is looking at with marriage. So when is it necessary?
I think it's necessary in the human interaction, period. Because even though in the context, like the purpose of marriage, and this is just my conviction, God is still passionate about us. I mean, the whole Bible is really a logical love story. And it's logical in the sense that God is intentionally pursuing the object of his passion. And he does it with purpose. He does it with plan because of his passion for us. And even when you talk about corporations, Steve Jobs and Apple, I think all of us are Apple people for the most part. Apple fell off in many people's eyes after Jobs died because Apple lost a passionate leader. So even with a corporation, there has to be passion in it, or you ain't gonna do it every day. If it is completely I think typically you can see corporations change when it becomes strictly run by numbers. Microsoft, I mean, even Apple to some degree, they ain't innovative anymore. I mean, I think most of us will agree on that. Innovation dies when passion dies, and so that's the issue. Ooh, this might be a rabbit hole, but that also might be why some of the kids of this current generation are as empty as they are, because they weren't created out of passion or innovation. They were products that were mass produced.
That is good.
That's a word, right?
You are so good at this. I'm sorry.
But I'm just saying, we have to consider that. And so you have all these kids that are simply products. And we have dumbed sex and relationship down to a TikTok. That's the attention span we have. So we ain't gonna have no conversation. It's scroll. It's scroll.
Okay, so what is the decision? Do we have to wait until we're married or not?
Wait.
Are you saying yes?
Yeah, I'm saying. You said I gotta say that. My sponsor tells me I have to say it.
AKA.
I don't think you have to wait. And this goes back to what I was saying before. I think God honors relationship.
Any relationship. Boyfriend, girlfriend?
Yeah.
I would think he honors devotion, or
Yeah.
if you're devoted to that person.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's some people that maybe never get married in a traditional sense, but they
let me
spend
ask y'all
their
this.
entire lives together.
We all grew up the same place. You all are a couple of years behind me. Why do you think your view of it is different than mine? What happened in
you're a
those
pastor.
years? Because I'm a pastor. If I wasn't a pastor,
that's
I have a
it.
different view.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, you
For sure.
have two views.
If this camera go off, you
have
probably
two
have a different
views.
view.
You have the camera
Do
view.
you hear these people?
And then you
Don't
have the
believe
view
them. Don't
when we
believe
go
them.
off.
Boss, don't believe them.
We're
That is
gonna
not
have
true.
a
I
hot mic
the same.
series one day, and we're gonna play some of the stuff we say off camera.
No, I don't say nothing. I just crack jokes.
Because we're all individuals and we have our own way of thinking and processing certain things.
I
And
hear you,
so-
but I guess my question too is kind of generational in a way. I know earlier Rashida said generation and gender, but there is a difference in how my parents view it, we're not that far apart, but even in the 5-6 years difference between us, there's different how me and my guys view it, and then you all view it like, go ahead.
But when you were our age, you probably viewed it the way we did. Now, when I'm talking to my mother, who's in her 50s, she has a different view because she's seen more. But when she was my age, she was viewed it the same way I did.
Or having never been married. I think that
That's true.
when you've never been married, you still have a bit of the fairy tale or a bit of the film over your eyes because you haven't really seen oh, this is what it is. That's why I think that sometimes people that have been married before go into marriage completely different with a completely different, vantage point or view because they already know what it's like. Mm-hmm. And so I also think that when we talk about our parents or our parents' parents, at this age, my mama had a full family, a house, and she had kids. Mm-hmm. And none of my friends have that. Like, you know, maybe one or two, but most of my friends are without children and not married. And so, yeah, our opinion of marriage is so different because A, it's not a guarantee. Whereas I think my mom and all her friends just knew they'd get married. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's like, if I do get married, will I ever have kids? Because at this point, I'm 33, so who knows? Maybe never. So I just think our approach to everything is so different because it isn't a guarantee and we don't know if you're going to get it.
And it's about effort too, because back in the day, there had to be some effort put in from the men and or the women.
100%.
It's this technology thing and everything is instant right away, from apps to sex hookups, social media, all of that stuff is just, that's what we're in this technology age. Back then, you had to actually go to somebody's house and see if they were home, to see if they was, you know, or
you had to call.
Yeah, you had to call the landline. It wasn't they outside and call their cell phone. No, if they ain't home, they just not at home. And so there was some effort put, you know, but behind it. But you don't need effort these days. Hey, you want it? No. What about you? Wait, let me go through your friend list. Oh, she cute. You know,
and our ambitions are different too. I think we're overly ambitious today, and I don't want to say overly as in a bad way, but I think that everybody thinks that they're going to be Diddy. Everybody thinks they're going to be the next millionaire. Like, everybody's going to be a millionaire, when clearly everybody cannot be a millionaire. Like, it's just, the system isn't set up that way. But everybody wants to be something huge, whereas I think back in the day, our parents just wanted stability. They just wanted peace. They wanted to have a family, have a decent job, maybe take a vacation once a year. That was ambitious. Now we want to go on vacation every other week. We want you to take us on a vacation and somebody else to take us whenever, or we think I can get the richest man. I don't need to settle for you working the 9 to 5 because somebody out there is going to buy me, you know, bags. So I think that the internet has also changed our ambition, whereas we just really wanted to be stable before. Now everybody wants to live in excess. And so that also, I think, colors whether or not we'll settle down. Because before, you wasn't waiting until you became extremely wealthy to get married. It was like you got that so you could have some stability at home. Now they see stability as change.
You to your point, you got married to build with your partner. Right now, it's almost like you got to basically have it all built now before you come to me.
Yeah.
Both men and women think to that degree, and which is why there's so many single individuals, because they feel like, well, this person ain't on my level, and so I'm going to wait, but you're going to wait it out till you in the grave because you'll never have it.
Yep.
It's hilarious y'all talking like this because I live in LA and I can feel it in LA. It's like pulsing. But when I'm in Chicago, it just feels like because people do blue collar jobs, 9 to 5, stable jobs, there's more men that are getting married here and, you know, have that mentality of wanting stability because, you know, it's going to get, once a coming.
Yeah.
You know, and so I need somebody to cuddle with.
And if you go to a small town, they get married at 19.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is it.
This
and
is
we
our
are going to
ambition.
create our like having a family is the ambition. It is success. Like a man in the 60s or in the 50s being unmarried at 40 was like, what are you doing?
So let me ask y'all this. Are options bad?
Yes.